Good evening, everybody. Welcome to BarrelUp Podcast with your host, John Carlos. I got my boy, Daryl the Guru, once again. And today is the most exciting day for us. Every day that we do a podcast is a very exciting day. But today is the cherry on the top. Why? Because it is opening day around MLB baseball. The game's back. America's pastime is back. There's no ifs, ands, or buts. We are playing. You know what I'm saying? We're playing. We came back before the NBA. We're obviously going to come back before NFL. And it's always an exciting day when the first pitch is thrown. Actually, the first pitch was thrown yesterday by Max Scherzer. But before we get into those details, we're going to talk about one of the most exciting news that has touched the baseball world. Mookie Betts. Mookie Betts signs a deal, a quiet deal. Nobody knew that this was happening. Obviously, both parties, the Dodgers and Mookie Betts, knew. But there wasn't any hints going around the league as to that, this deal was cooking, surfacing. Mookie Betts signs a 13-year, $365 million deal with the Dodgers, LA. So the Red Sox had offered him 300
over 10.
Over 10 years. The guy said no. Everybody loves Mookie Betts around the league. The Red Sox still, I'm pretty sure there's still Red Sox fans that would want Jeter. Oh, sorry, not Jeter. Betts in that team. Hey, the guy has chosen to sign a deal and finish his career possibly with the Dodgers. What do you think about that, Daryl?
Super disappointing. Just as a Red Sox fan, I'm sad. It's a sad day for me.
Yeah.
But overall, the structure of the contract, I'm not a big fan of. Obviously, he deserves 365. I think he deserves a little bit more. To me, he's the second best player in the league. Behind Mike Trout, obviously. But he did sign a 13-year, 365. But the way it's structured is he's getting a lot of his money deferred.
So he's pulling off a Bobby Bonilla kind of deal. Talk to the fans, and for those who don't know, what kind of the whole structure of a deferred deal, especially this one.
So a deferred deal usually helps out a franchise, to acquire more pieces to build around that player they gave that contract to. So for Mookie Betts, he'll be making $17 million a year in the bulk of his contract.
Okay.
And right in the middle, I'd say year 7, year 8, that's when he get majority of which is $30 million a year. But after the 13 years, he's gonna be due another $65 million.
Okay.
So deferred money is, well, you play now, and then after your career, we'll pay you later.
Get paid later. Okay.
Yeah.
So it always seems like the Dodgers are always like big money spenders when it comes to players and payroll every year. But in my opinion, I think they got a guy that's going to produce in that lineup for years to come. Mookie Betts is not always injured. Like you don't hear about him getting injured. He got injured 2 years ago. And he still won the MVP. So when it comes to talent, dedication, charisma, great guy in the clubhouse, they got it all. They got a great deal with Mookie Betts, and that lineup is stacked. It was stacked before him getting on that team, but now it's even more stacked. Talk to me about that outfield. You got AJ Pollock,
Cody Bellinger. You got Jock Peterson still. And then they have guys like Chris Taylor and Kike Hernandez who can platoon in and out.
Right. But Mookie Betts is going to play every day.
Yeah, he's the everyday right fielder. But the thing you touched on earlier, you said that the Dodgers are big spenders. The surprising part of all this is that they're actually not. They're one of the top teams in lowest payroll.
Per year.
Yeah. So the thing is that what I commend the Dodgers on, what I'm a fan of, is that their development system is so good that you think that these players are getting paid a lot because they're playing like all-star, superstar caliber type of players.
Right.
But they're not. They're still on their rookie deals and still arbitrational years.
What I meant to say was that in the past, they have taken on deals like
Carl Crawford,
Adrian
Gonzalez.
Right. So they have to have had a lot of meetings within the owners of the team and make some changes. But they are on the up and up again. Off the bat, a World Series contender, in my opinion. Again, It's just they have to pitch accordingly to the league. They have some great pitchers. Walker Buehler. They have, obviously, the lefty that we all know and love.
Clayton Kershaw. Even though he's out, though, but...
He didn't start yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
So it's all about putting the pieces together. Mookie Betts, I wish you nothing but luck in your new adventure in LA. Is there any opt-outs in that contract?
I don't believe so. I think it's just a strict type of Bryce Harper contract. No opt-outs, no trade clause. I think he's there to stay.
He's there to stay. Will we see a World Series championship with Mookie Betts? I agree. I think so. I think we will. You know, that's the missing piece, in my opinion, that the Dodgers needed. Obviously, we're both Red Sox fans. This is a show which is unbiased. We both want him on the Red Sox. That's not happening. So, got to move on. Got to move on. You know, a lot of players move on from their respective teams and become superstars somewhere else. And then their former team is like, damn, what the hell did we do? With that being said, a lot of changes have been happening from one day to the other. A couple episodes before this one, we were talking about, you know, what this season would be comprised of, right? Everything seemed like it was final. Every decision between the MLB Players Association and the teams and the players, they were getting into agreements. But now there's a new deal being made, which in some way is more exciting for baseball fans. Instead of having the regular playoff picture, you know, 4 teams from each league, we're gonna have, that would be 8. Right, 4 and 4, American League 4, National League 4. We're gonna have 16 teams in the playoff picture. 8 teams in the American League, 8 teams in the National League. Talk to me about that, Brandon. I mean, Brandon's not here today, by the way. Daryl.
So they came to an agreement yesterday, actually, before the first pitch was thrown. So first pitch was at 7:08, and they came to this deal at 4 o'clock.
Mm-hmm.
So it's now a 16-team playoff, which means 2 teams from each division will make the playoffs. So the top 2 teams of each division go in, and then the best record per team fill out the rest. So it'll be...
Hold on, because I want to get the gist of this. I'm so sorry to cut you off. So you're saying the number 1 and 2 teams of each division?
Each division will make the playoffs automatically.
Interesting.
Yeah. So you have the division winners, then you got the second place teams will fill out the rest of the bracket, and then whichever teams in each respective league have the best record of the rest, then they fill out the slots that are empty. A big thing too is that the division winners get a first round bye, so they sit out the first round.
Okay.
And then second place teams play the rest of the this is complicated. So they play the rest of the league, whatever best record goes in.
Mm-hmm. Okay.
And then they play a best of 3 wild card series.
Wow. So that's a little bit different. That's it's not a bad move, I would say.
No.
Because we're gonna obviously see more teams in the playoffs. We are expected to go into November, playing baseball in November. Like, this is going to go out through November. I was hearing Manfred speak yesterday. And it gives other teams an opportunity to play in the playoffs.
Absolutely.
This year is not a regular season where it's not a marathon, as they would say, it's a sprint. So there's no time for slacking for any team. You know, 66 days to play 60 games. 60 games to be played in 66 days. So whoever wants it the best, the most is going to win. It's going to go the farthest. There are a lot of players that have opted out. There have been late COVID-19 positive tests for players. That sucks. One of them is Juan Soto. Talk to me about that, man. I got those latest news yesterday, very, very late, and I was like, damn, that really devastated the Nationals.
Yeah, that's the biggest blow. Mm-hmm. Somebody who was successful against Garrett Cole.
Mm-hmm.
I think not having him in the lineup is a big difference. I mean, yesterday I had to call up some guy and play left field.
Right.
But I think that's a blow of what could have been a repeating team playoff appearance. I mean, now we have to see. So he's out for basically, I say at least 2 weeks.
He's out until, basically for 2 weeks, but he's out until he gives 2 negative tests. So he has to test negative twice before being able to play baseball again in the the show. So that's going to be something to look forward to see him back on the field, hopefully, because the Nationals do need him. The Nationals, by the way, and the Yankees started yesterday. Everybody was waiting for that first pitch. Everybody was waiting for that 7 o'clock play ball sign. And it was one for the ages. The game didn't finish completely, like 9 innings. They didn't play 9 innings due to weather. But let's talk about opening night. Let's talk about the Nationals versus the Yankees. And let's recap what happened. Okay, so for those people that have literally doubted Giancarlo Stanton for years.
And there's a lot of them.
There's a lot. I was one of them.
A lot of Yankee fans.
I was one of them where I said, damn, he's not a bad player, but he doesn't fit well with the Yankees and that Yankee pressure, right? I was one of them. I believed in the guy, but it was just, New York is not for everybody. And he was just fueling my commentary and others' commentary because he wasn't producing in the Bronx. He wasn't producing in the Bronx. When it came to the playoffs, the guy was a flunk until yesterday. Until yesterday, right? I'm not going to sit here and say that one game makes the difference, one game makes a player, but in all reality, we saw nothing but positive performance from Giancarlo Stanton. I'll explain myself. First inning, right? First inning, this guy hits a ball 459 feet off a 96-mile-per-hour fastball against Scherzer. Right there off rip, those are incredible signs for a guy that was slumping with the Yankees. You know, he looked a little bit, he's always in shape, but he looked a little bit slimmer. He looked a little bit more focused. Stronger. A-Rod was speaking about it. He noticed it right away, right? But that's not all. You know, those were 2 RBIs that he helped bring in with that home run, right? The game finished 4-1, but Stanton came in later in the game and drove in another one. Talk to me about that, Darryl. I always confuse their names. Like, it's clearly Brando and Darryl, but it's just like I have them on my mind all the time, so I won't do it again. Darryl.
So with Stanton, first off rip, I've seen that he's more confident at the plate, which I haven't seen in the last 2 seasons with the Yankees. He's a little bit closer into the plate.
Yeah.
He's more confident up there, and he's more aggressive. So he's not waiting for pitches. He's jumping on whatever he wants to see that at bat. He's jumping on it, which most likely will be a fastball. And we've seen that in the first AB.
Which the Yankees need. The Yankees need him to produce and to serve as a cushion for Aaron Judge. Aaron Judge, another one that produced right away off the gates, was hitting rockets off Scherzer. You know? Rockets off Scherzer. And it's great to see that, even though there was a lot of negativity going on with the pandemic and all that, it's great to see that Aaron Judge had enough time to recuperate and to be ready to start opening day.
And these are 2 guys who, if the season would have started when it should have started, they would have been on the injured list for like at least a month and a half.
Definitely. Now, one of the most interesting things that I saw, and I want to talk to you about this to see what you say, Darryl. We did not see Andujar in that lineup. Everybody knows that there is a universal designated hitter going throughout the league, not mattering if you're a National or American League team, right? Urshela was playing third. You had Gleyber Torres playing short. Tyler Wade playing second. I'm going to talk about Tyler Wade and his performance. Luke Voigt at first. Gary Sanchez catching. Left field. Yeah, take your time. Left field, we had, I believe it was Gardner, right? Center, we had Aaron Hicks, and right, we had Aaron Judge. Designated hitter was Giancarlo Stanton. LeMahieu is on the bench. The manager, Aaron Boone, decided to give him the day off. He felt like he needed some more time doing baseball activities before he comes back to play. He's ready. It's just manager's decision. No Andujar. Your thoughts on that?
Well, coming into the season, it was pretty obvious that there was no spot for Andujar.
Right.
With Gio Urshela producing the way he produced last year, and is expected to produce the same. So, he obviously is the odd man out. But they could have shifted. Urshela can play short or second base. Not that I've seen. Andujar can play short or second base.
I don't think I've seen him play second base.
Tyler Wade would have been the best option to start at second base.
Mm-hmm.
And he came up big for them. He had a great game, in my opinion. So it wasn't really that much of a difference. Probably a home run difference. But
right.
They weren't really killing. But I think as we get further along into the season, we're gonna start seeing Aaron Boone get more creative with the lineup, and then we're gonna see more of Andujar.
I'm gonna tell you this much, man. I liked what I saw from the Yankees yesterday. I liked what I saw from Scherzer, believe it or not. I'll break it down. But when it comes to Tyler Wade, specifically Tyler Wade, I applaud him 100% for his tenacity, his dedication, and getting the opportunity and not taking full advantage of it, right? This guy, this is why I'm telling you, I applaud you 100%, Tyler Wade. Oh, we also forgot to mention the redhead. What's it called?
Cliff Frazier.
Cliff Frazier's on the bench as well. But Tyler Wade took advantage of the situation and has done something yesterday that I have years without seeing from a Yankee player. Play small ball. Tyler Wade, I believe it was in the 4th inning, hit a drag bunt to second and got on. After he gets on with a base hit, the guy scores on a Giancarlo Stanton line shot to right field. You don't see that from the Yankees. The Yankees is to be considered a power hitting team. From the catcher all the way to left field. Even Gardner. Gardner had 28 bombs last year. To see that they are capable, that they have weapons like Tyler Wade that are capable of playing small ball, those are great stats for the Yankees. Why? Because you're going to need guys like that down the line that can lay one down, move the runner over. Because it's not all about the home run. There's pitching involved too. Your thoughts, Brandon? Darryl. I swear to God, I won't say it again. It's gonna be a funny episode, guys. Enjoy it. The Guru, Brando, where are you? You're not here.
Tyler Wade, obviously bringing out something that we see in college and in high school, incorporating that in MLB. The Yankees' version of small ball would have been Brett Gardner's little singles and stuff like that. That was the only version of it. But it's something new to the game. It's something big now, especially with the way the rules are set up with extra innings when they get a guy to start at second base. A guy who could do that and move him over to third with 1 out, no outs possibly. It's going to be big. But I would like to see that more around the league. I think there's more teams who have players like Tyler Wade, who have guys who could lay down the bunt. I mean, we haven't seen that in a long time. Now it's just straight home runs or strikeouts.
That's what's calling more fans to the game, the excitement of the long ball, right? But real players know that pesky players like Wade are needed in the game because they put more pressure on the pitcher. Talking about the pitcher, talk to me about Garrett Cole's start yesterday, Darryl.
So
what did you see? What did you see?
He finally made his anticipated debut
with the Yanks
as a Yankee. Garrett Cole, he looked good. Spring training, he didn't pitch much. I didn't see much. Spring training 2.0 summer camp, he was striking out a couple guys. He was looking all right. He wasn't pitching much though.
Mm-hmm.
But when he made his start,
I didn't think he looked that sharp.
Yeah, so he wasn't really commanding the zone like he did last year, but he did strike out a few batters. He did get a lot of ground ball outs, and then he held them down to 1 hit basically. He gave up 1 hit, 1 home run.
The most anticipated debut, I would say, was Garrett Cole's with the Yankees, and he got the W. At the end of the day, that's all you want. The W, and he got run support. His fastball was live, 99, 100 miles per hour, 898. He didn't come down from there. But since we're on the pitching topic, even though Max Scherzer got the loss. He gave up 4 runs. He struck out 10 batters. It seems to me, maybe you can corroborate on this statement that I'm about to make. Haven't you noticed that it takes Scherzer like an inning to settle in every game?
Yeah, so the difference between Scherzer this year and last year, I think there's a really big difference. So I feel like Scherzer decreased a little bit. I feel like he's not too confident up there. Well, first of all, let me not say that because he's probably like the most confident pitcher out. But I feel like he didn't have that stuff that sets him aside the rest of the
Like
league.
we always see him.
Yeah, so he's finding trouble with the slider and the changeup outside, and that's what they took advantage of yesterday. And then I don't think his fastball is just there yet. But I mean, 60 games. Let's see if he can sharpen up and go out there and be the Max Scherzer that we all know he is.
Right, that's right. There was another game played yesterday. The Dodgers versus their all-time rivals, the San Francisco Giants. But the San Francisco Giants didn't look like the Giants. No Bruce Bochy. No Evan Longoria. No Brandon Belt. You know, they had a lot of holes there missing. And they got clobbered by the Dodgers. Kike Hernandez went like 5 for 5. Kike Hernandez, in my eyes, should be starting every day in that lineup.
It's tough though. With that team, it's tough.
It is. It's tough.
But I mean, they did option Gavin Lux back to the minor leagues.
Right.
So I think he does have that everyday position of second base.
Okay. Yeah. I didn't like what I saw with the San Francisco Giants because a lot of players opted out. Like I mentioned, Evan Longoria, Buster Posey. Buster Posey has they all have legitimate reasons. But it's like, damn, man. There's a lot of shoes to fill there.
And already, it's a team that's already in the process of rebuilding.
Yeah.
And then to lose those key pieces, those veterans on your team, makes a big difference. But they held their own throughout half the game.
They did.
But obviously, their pitching is not up to par. And then you have the Dodgers lineup, which is probably a super beast.
Stacked. The best player that I saw yesterday on the San Francisco Giants lineup was Pablo Sandoval.
Surprising.
No offense. I love you as a player. You're a great player whenever you're on it. But that's a lot to say right there. Pablo Sandoval hitting third in a lineup which we all know that is also stacked. In the last 10 years of the live era of baseball, the San Francisco Giants have won multiple times. So they know what they're doing. But now, without Bruce Bochy, that has been that rock there, it's time to rebuild. I don't think we're going to see championships coming from the Bay Area anytime soon. Thoughts?
Well, I agree. They hired Gabe Kapler. He was the manager of the Phillies.
He was a good player.
Not a really big fan of him. I don't think he's up there. I don't think he should be a manager.
Not
no
yet.
offense.
Not yet.
He had minimal experience with the Phillies. He had like half of the clubhouse with him, half the clubhouse not. They had guys questioning. Actually, I know a player who played for the Phillies who I had a conversation with, and then he told me that there was times where he would speak and then like just nobody would listen to him or people would question like, what are you doing?
That's crazy.
But
when a manager doesn't have respect like that,
I feel like a team that's like San Francisco, who's won multiple titles in the last 10 years, 3 to be exact, I don't think this is the guy you need to lead, especially when you're rebuilding.
we can be wrong, but I highly doubt and I highly never question the guru's thought process. Mostly everything he said comes true. What I say comes true as well. But I don't think he's the guy. They're going to have to rebuild for the next 5 years. There's some contracts that are terminating within the next 5 years, so it's going to be exciting to see what the hell's going to happen there. In other news, Toronto, state of Toronto? City of Toronto, you want to call it, literally said to the Blue Jays, you cannot play here. Yes, their own city told them, you're not welcome to play here. So now, the new home for the Toronto Blue Jays is up in Buffalo, New York. You know what I would do? If I was one of the players, if I were all the players, I would riot after the season's over. I know we're in coronavirus pandemic and all that crap. How are you going to throw your team out of your own city to go play in West Bubblefuck? Because that's far from Canada.
Actually, not really. If you think about it, it's close
True.
to Canada.
Yeah.
But it's really far for teams to travel out, especially because they will be playing AL East teams, which will be lower in the state and then lower in the country.
Mm-hmm.
And then NL East teams, which is the same thing. It's a farther travel.
Makes things a little bit more difficult for...
And it's not like they could travel by plane to Buffalo.
Right.
And they have to take a bus.
Is there a Buffalo airport?
Probably. But they'll be taking buses up there.
Right now, the Rays are playing the Blue Jays, and we're gonna see what happens with all those highlights for the next episode. But as we have said, that there was a lot of doubters with Giancarlo Stanton. That's nothing. Everybody knew that. Everybody was doubting Giancarlo Stanton. But who was really being doubted was my man's, Joanny Cespedes. Joanny's effing Cespedes. Today's another day, right? Yesterday was officially the first game of baseball, right? Opening day. But today is the actual opening day around the league. Like, only 4 teams played yesterday, right? 2 games. But today, everybody's playing. And guess what? My Mets, his Mets, won against their rivals, the Braves. 1-0. DeGrom got the W. And we won 1-0. And who scored that run?
Cespedes.
Joanny's effing Cespedes. A lot of people, even SNY commentators, were doubting my man. Again, I'm going to say it again. One game does not define you. But that loud home run shuts a lot of mouths. I am so happy to see that kind of performance from the man, the youngster. Talk to me. And he had his neon sleeve. Darryl.
Overall, he went 1 for 3.
1 for 3.
With a home run.
Mm-hmm.
A loud home run. A big home run. I think that went like 460 something and some change. I don't know, but that was loud. It was big.
That pitch was 94, a little bit up. So his bat speed is still there for those who don't think that it is.
So earlier in the year, in February, he dropped a hype video talking about 60 home runs this season.
Mm-hmm.
And then I took it upon myself to campaign for 60 home runs in 60 games.
Goddamn. You imagine?
1 down, 59 more to go.
You imagine? That would be something right there, man, because we all know he's a power hitter. And the role that he's playing this year, I even heard Chipper Jones and Mike Piazza speaking about him like an hour ago while the game was airing. Joanny Cespedes is the missing piece for the Mets to take it all. Why? Because he's mostly going to be a DH this year. And our pitching is phenomenal. Our pitching right now is phenomenal. DeGrom, he gave you five innings, almost 6, 5 2/3, I believe it was, or 5 innings complete. He just performed like he always does, right? But the most exciting part after the DeGrom performance and the Joanny Cespedes home run was the bullpen.
Surprisingly.
Talk to me about that, bro. What did you see?
Familia came in, I believe.
No, it was, what's this guy's name? He used to be a starter for us. He's in the bullpen now. Puerto Rican dude.
Seth
Lugo came in right after the ground.
Mm-hmm.
Gem.
And then to close it out, Edwin Diaz.
Gem.
Big, had a terrible season last year.
Those are good signs right there.
Obviously, yeah.
I saw Dylan Betances warming up.
That would have been sick. I know it's only game 1.
Yeah.
But from what I've seen, I think the rest of the Mets players have to step up offensively. I mean, these guys got to start. It's 60 games, bro. You got to start producing.
Nimmo, squaring up the ball. The flying squirrel. You know who the flying squirrel is?
Jeff McNeil.
Jeff McNeil hitting the ish out of the ball today. This is what I saw. Cano, don't you know, getting his line drive opposite field. Joanna Cespedes, right? My man's Ahmed Rosario square. Yo, we were hitting the ish out of the ball. We didn't score much, but those are positive things to see from a team that has, in the past, relied on the long ball. You know what I'm saying? When Joannis was still healthy, we would see a lot of home runs from that team. They brought up their number 8 prospect, the second baseman. Forget his name. I forget his name. I'm going to get his name in a little while. But he was playing second base from the 7th inning on. Made a nice play. We still have yet to see the polar bear come out of hibernation. Pete Alonso. But that's to come. My only question is Steven Matz. If he can stay healthy, if he can throw strikes, we'll be good on that part. What do you think about that?
I think the biggest piece for a lot of teams this year will be the starting pitching.
Mm-hmm.
The Mets lost a few with Thor out for the season. You got Stroman down right now. You got Robert Gsellman down.
What's wrong with Stroman?
I think he pulled something, if I'm not mistaken.
Shit.
But he should be back real soon. I think he should be starting his rehab.
Okay.
But I think if you get those key pieces back in Stroman and Gsellman with Steven Matz and DeGrom at the top of the helm, that's going to be a really important team.
Even MLB analysts had put the Braves to take it all in the NL East. Again, one game does not depict anything. But the way the Mets, our team played today against their rivals, against the team that a lot of analysts, a lot of people say are going to take it all in that division, it's not happening.
And right now the Mets are sitting in first place.
We are sitting in first place, 1-0. Tomorrow we play them again. We shall see what happens. Big ups to my man Yohan Cespedes. I think that the universal DH should stay. That rule should stay.
Absolutely.
Going on, moving forward. Will it stay? We don't know. Robert Manfred, I've been bashing you for a while. I'm going to take a little light on you. Good job on what you're doing. Don't F it up, though. Don't F it up from now on. And we're happy, man. Baseball's back. Right now, there's a lot of games going on. We will recap you on what's going on with that. But, Daryl, before we start our main part of the show, you guys thought this was over? No, it's just starting. Any other thoughts that you would like to bring out, say?
It's first day. A lot of teams are going to get the jitters out.
No fans.
I mean, there's no fans, but the crowd noise is there.
You know where that crowd noise comes from?
I believe they said, I'm going to be the show.
I'm going to be the show. So, we're getting loud noises from the game, the actual console game, the PS3, PS4 game, in real life. So, that's a little oxymoron, but it makes it as normal as it can be with these circumstances. You ready, Darryl?
I'm ready.
Guys, so that's what's going on right now, live in Major League Baseball. Last week, we aired our segment where it was player comparisons, right? We did Mike Piazza versus Jorge Posada. Today, we have something even more controversial, I would say. Today, we're going to speak on behalf of the topic. Derek Jeter. Yes, Derek Jeter versus Nomar Garciaparra. Oh my God, how can you compare those two? We're going to tell you how the hell we can compare those two. In all reality, besides Nomar Garciaparra, the only other, and you can look it up, if you're a baseball fan, if you know baseball, the only other player that you can compare to Derek Jeter, or that can be in a conversation with Derek Jeter, is Cal Ripken Jr. when it comes to shortstops. Okay? Why? Because they both have similar stats. But there are clear reasons why we chose Nomar Garciaparra and we're about to show you right now. Okay? So, we're going to start with the defensive stats for both shortstops. Derek Jeter, Nomar Garciaparra. Red Sox player at the time, Yankees player at the time. Retired with the Yankees, came up with the Yankees, retired with the Yankees. Both of these players came up relatively around the same time, and they both were great pieces to their teams, to their respective teams. We're going to start with, like I said, defensive stats, and we're going to start with none less than the captain, Derek Jeter. First and foremost, Derek Jeter played 20 years in Major League Baseball. 20 years, 2-0. Take that into consideration. And Nomar Garciaparra played 14 years. So there's a 6-year difference there. Right there, off rip, off bat. Take that into consideration. 20 years, 14 years. In 20 years of gameplay, Derek Jeter played 2,674 games at shortstops. 2,674 games at shortstops. At shortstop, right? 73 games as a DH. In total, he played 23,225 innings. Putouts, 3,820 putouts. In 20 years, he had 254 errors, a fielding percentage of .976, 5-time Gold Glove winner. In 04, 05, 06, 09, and 2010. Right? That's in 20 years. Okay. Now, when it comes to Nomar Garciaparra, in 14 years, he played 1,055 games at shortstop. The majority of his games were at shortstop. Played some games at first, 210 games at first, 94 games at third, and as a DH, 25 games. At shortstop, he did 9,156 innings. Putouts, 1,606 putouts. Only 149 errors and a fielding percentage of .968. Going off these numbers, I would say that Jeter, going off these numbers, is a better defender. But in all reality, I would say that Nomar Garciaparra is a better athlete. I'll tell you why. You guys all know the infamous Jeter play to the glove hand, coming up, jumping, throwing a first. That's cool. That's great. I'm not bashing you, Jeter. I'm not. That's a Jeter signature play right there. But in all reality, any other shortstop that has an arm doesn't make a jump to make that throw. I'm sorry. But if you think about it, I'm right. Troy Tulowitzki makes that play in his prime without making the jump throw. It's more dramatic. It looks better. But as a professional, that's not much of a hard play to make. Look at Machado. Machado makes it look easy. Not saying that Jeter didn't. Even though he has 5 Gold Gloves, the details are here. Nomar Garciaparra played different positions and played them all well. What's your take on that, man? Sorry, Yankee fans, but I have to state the obvious. Even though you have 5 Gold Gloves, you weren't considered the best shortstop, Jeter. In your yes, off numbers, you are better than Nomar, but you played 6 more years than Nomar. Right? You are the captain. I love you for everything that you've done for the game of baseball. On paper, You're the better shortstop. You played more years. Baseball players that know the game for real, that played the game like we did, everybody knows. And Nomar Garciaparra was a more athletic shortstop, and I'm sorry. Your thoughts?
So growing up, we've always seen Jeter and Nomar go head to head.
Yes.
What I always believed was Nomar was the better defensive player.
Mm-hmm.
And in that time frame of when I grew up, which would be, I'll say 2000 and 2005. That's when I started getting into baseball, started understanding baseball a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
And then obviously I would overhear conversations, guys in the barbershop would say, listen, Nomar's the better defensive guy.
Yeah.
But if you look at the stats in those 5 years period, you see that Nomar was better defensively. Jeter didn't get a Gold Glove till after Nomar left to the NL.
Did you hear that? Jeter did not get his first Gold Glove until Nomar Garciaparra left to where? To the National League.
But
we're not biased here in any way. We're just giving you the stats and the real players. Go.
And then obviously through research and stuff, I found out that, they take player surveys. So they see, who's better at this, who's better at that. And in the majority of those cases, defensively, Nomar was the better shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
So collectively in that generation, the top 3 shortstops was Jeter, Nomar, and Alex
Rodriguez. Yes.
So everybody knew that A-Rod had the better bat, Nomar had the defense, and then Jeter was just like that, the mental guy. Yeah, consistency, the mentality. He was the Kobe-esque type player.
Kobe-esque.
So for me, defensively, in that time frame, Nomar was the better defensive guy, the defensive shortstop.
Mm-hmm.
But Jeter did play 20 years. Obviously, he had more time. Overall, he's the better shortstop.
He's the better shortstop. Now, question. Does being a Yankee give you an extra edge?
I think so.
Especially Jeter. Especially Jeter as a Yankee. He only played for the Yankees, right? Hall of Fame player. Go ahead. I want to hear this, bro.
Obviously, if you play for the Yankees, and a guy like Derek Jeter is always in the spotlight.
Mm-hmm.
He played for a great team who built around him, for him, and they won with him. I think if you put Derek Jeter on a different team in his career, he'll be a little bit above average shortstop.
Put Derek Jeter in Colorado. 20 years in Colorado. Would he have the same buzz and aura and put on a pedestal like he is with the Yankees in Colorado? Trevor Story right now is one of the best shortstops in the game. Do we hear much about Trevor Story?
Nah.
Does that and why in that navy blue hat make a difference? Yes, it does, in my opinion. Yes, it does, in my opinion. I'm not taking anything away from your production with the Yankees, Jeter. But we all know that the most winning team in the history of baseball always have the spotlight on them, even if they don't win a championship in the year. And let's just throw Jeter another icing on the cake. Jeter played shortstop for the Yankees ever since he came up, never went down.
Never went down. That's a big thing.
He was beloved.
Another thing too.
By them and by baseball.
Before 2010, was never injured.
He was never injured.
So he was on the field, really, I think, 15 years into his career.
15 years into his career. Again, going back to that play. I love that play. That signature Jeter play. Give that same ground ball to Cal Ripken in his prime. He'll make that strong throw without making that jump. Jeter, you had to make that jump because your arm wasn't as strong as other players playing that same position. And I am brave enough to say that. You made the routine look routine. And sometimes not even. You have 254 errors in 20 years. My guy Nomar had, I'm not biased towards Nomar because I'm a Red Sox fan. No. We're just going off stats. Nomar had 149 errors in 14 years. Little less. Would he had reached 200 in 6 years? We will never know, right? But overall, stats-wise, play-wise, we know that Nomar was a better shortstop, more athletic. Stats-wise, Jeter, you got it. You have you're a 5-time Gold Glove winner. No questions asked. On stats, you're a better defender, Jeter. If Nomar Garciaparra would have ended his career healthy, that would have been questionable.
And another thing too, which is very, very big in this conversation, if Alex Rodriguez would have never went to the Yankees, I don't think we'd be having this conversation.
No.
I think it would be Alex Rodriguez versus Nomar. Or it could have been A-Rod versus Jeter.
Alex Rodriguez, out of courtesy, moved to third base. Not because he had to. When he came to the Yankees, it was respect.
And just like to not create that conflict of who's better, because there was always beef between them.
Yeah.
But I think A-Rod did become the bigger man in that situation. Said, listen, I'll slide over to third.
A-Rod was a better shortstop than Derek Jeter will ever be. I'm sorry. You can ask any baseball fan in the world, any baseball analyst in the world. Derek Jeter was not better than A-Rod at short. Did Derek Jeter play an outstanding shortstop for 20 years at the Yankees? Absolutely. No steroids, no nothing. No scratch in that career. No taint in that career. And I applaud you. You did it in the biggest stage, my brother. But we all know that there were better shortstops than you. I'm sorry. Kill me if you guys want. Bash me. But I'm just speaking facts right now. Now, those were defensive stats, right? We're going to go into what I like. The offensive stats. Pay attention. Pay attention. Where you want to go first? Nomar or Jeter? Should we stick with Jeter since we started with Jeter?
I think we'll know more.
Let's go with Nomar. Again, asterisk. Remember that Jeter played 20 years. Remember that Nomar played 14 years due to injury. Not because he couldn't kept going, right? Because of his injury prone. Nomar Garciaparra as a offensive hitter. In 5,586 at-bats, he averaged for 313 as an average for him. 229 home runs in 14 years. RBIs had 936 RBIs. Runs, 927 runs. Hits, almost 2,000. 200 something short of 2,000.